The views and opinions expressed by participants in the following public affairs program do not necessarily reflect the position or beliefs of WDEF or its staff.
Since 1954, this is Point of View, the world record-holding public affairs program produced locally at WDEF News 12. Hello, I'm your host, Maurice Lewis. Thank you very much for joining us for this edition of Point of View. Question that you probably may know the answer to, or maybe not. What is a mentor? Why do we need them? How did it get started? Well, we have two gentlemen with us today to answer those questions, but first I'd like to introduce a co-host that you know well and love. Ruth Carter Hickman, thank you very much for joining us. And who do we have with us here today?
Well, we've got two great guys. We'll start to the right.
I'm Wayne Brown.
And I'm Chris Sands.
Yep, that means nothing until you tell about
All right.
why are you here. I mean, that's the big thing.
Well, again, my name is Wayne Brown. I'm a community leader, do a lot of work in the Woodmore area. I'm also a part of the PTA. Yes, the PTA is still live and kicking.
Well, PTA, Parent Teachers
Association. Yes, it is. And also, I'm a mentor. I'm a mentor, author, and a speaker.
And I'm Chris Sands. I am the assistant to Bishop Kevin Adams at Olivet Baptist Church, as well as the youth pastor there. Community leader, mentor, and I'm an author as well. Wrote a book entitled I Can't Is for Broke Folks.
You know, you have an opportunity being from California. You've moved here. You've seen things in a lot of different cities. As you travel the world, there always seems to be people who have time to do something for someone else. And looking at you two gentlemen as mentors, what got you into this and why the calling? I'll start with you, Wayne.
Being a mentor is something that it was in my blood. When I was young, I had a lot of men around me. My father, he had brothers, my uncles. In the church, I had men around me in the church, and they always were there to pour into me, and it helped me through life. When I couldn't talk to my father all the time, I was able to talk to another man. I was able to talk to someone who had experienced what I want to do.
When you say pour into you, can
Yes.
you explain what that means?
Let's say I had a situation at school where someone may have been bullying me. And then I had a man to come and not so much tell me defend yourself and beat them up, but talk to me, get me to talk to the person who's bothering me and find another solution other than going the violence route. Those are the type of men that I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying about pouring into someone.
So pouring in is one thing, and whoever this person was that's bullying, if he listened to you, he wasn't much of a bully, and you probably could have beat him up.
Now you tell me. Now you tell me.
But I like the fact here, once again, we're looking towards the church,
Yes.
which has been a staple through life for all different races. The church has been a place for solace, comfort, and information. So what's your role as a youth pastor?
What's my role as a youth pastor? Well, my role as a youth pastor is really to impact the community, the young people in the community. The church has always been the pillar of our communities, and so to uphold those standards, it's important that we reach back to this youth and let them know that the church is here. It's not the traditional religious aspect of what a lot of people think, especially young people, but we are here, we understand the lingo, their language, and we're here to mentor and help them holistically be everyone that they need to be.
So what kind of programs do you guys have in the church that are really benefiting the youth?
Oh, that's a great question. So we have several different programs. For one, at Olivet, we have a GED program. So any young person that have dropped out of school, we actually have classes for them every Tuesday and Wednesday. Also, we have a school. We have youth programs every Sunday from 10:45 to about 12 o'clock. We have things for them to do every Sunday, as well as during the summer, we have what you call Camp Zoe. So Camp Zoe is like a YMCA program that all they have to do is sign up, come pay the fee, and for the whole summer, then one fee pays for them for all their trips and advancements and everything that we're doing in the community.
We don't want to give the impression that only black youth are involved and need mentoring. How do you mentor the entire community?
That's a good question. Right now, we're in several different schools. We're in 7 schools right now. both in the minority aspect as well as collectively in other schools in Hamilton County. So we go in once a week and consistently and just mentor and impact those particular young people. All of them are not African American young people, all of them from all walks of life. So we make sure every week we empower those young people.
What about the different economic backgrounds as well? Because rich kids need help too, don't they?
Yes, they do. I'm gonna let Mr. Brown talk about that one.
Of course they do. Of course they do. And we forget about that
Yeah,
because
as you travel the country club circuit, tell us about that.
But yes, when you're talking about different economic positions in life, that has very little to do with, they're still human. They still have families. Some of them have suffered divorce. All of them are not from a two-parent home. Some of them have single parents. And they have some of the same issues. They deal with cyberbullying. They deal with bullying. They deal with low self-esteem. So just because they're in a certain economic position, that doesn't immune them from being affected by all the different things that other children are also.
That was my weak attempt to inject some humor into this, but that's a terrible segue. But we're going to try to make it work here. And basically what we're doing is we're leading into something that, your book, Wayne Brown, that's out, is called Wisdom and Wit for the Next Generation.
Yes.
And as we talk about that, you also talk about Have Dinner With Me.
Yes, yes. One of the things that we're starting to do on May 23rd, that's Lunch with Uncle Wayne. That's what I've been known for sometimes in the community because I'm the older guy sitting at the table. So it's Uncle Wayne. And everybody needs that uncle, someone you can talk to. Again, like I said, you may not be able to talk to your parents, but you usually have a relative that you can talk to. So May 23rd, we're going to be meeting at Uncle Larry's restaurant, and we're going to have lunch with some young men 18 to 24 years old. And we want to mentor them, just give them a place where they can feel safe with sharing, a place where they can feel safe with just letting themselves be vulnerable. Because the goal is we want them to be men who will be effective in their community. We want them to be men who are going to be leaders in their family. And we also want them to be men that can mentor other men.
So that's where Bridge in the Gap.
Bridge in the Gap, yes, sir. Because there are so many gaps in our community. We can't bridge all of them, but we can bridge some of them. Everybody can be that bridge. The only thing you have to do is try.
So if they want to get involved, our viewers, how do they get involved with
Yes,
mentoring?
you can contact me at Bridge in the Gap, that's BRIDGE, the letter N, the Gap.com, or Wayne at bridgeinthegap.com.
So you're saving souls, and I always wonder, those that are on that borderline, those 2%ers or 1%ers that are always in the news for causing trouble or shooting, they're not coming to your church.
Yes.
How do you reach them?
We have to change our approach. What we're doing, Paul said something that was so critical in the Bible. Paul said, I became all things to all men that I might win some. So in order to really reach other young men who are straddling the fence, who are not coming to our churches, we go to them. This is unlikely of me to really be in a suit and sit up here talking to you, because really our mission field is the streets. Our mission field is to go into the communities and look and like majority of the young people that we're going after. I wear hoodies, I wear jeans, I wear Jordans, I wear all those stuff just to make an impact and a connection. Because a lot of reasons why people are not coming to church is because they don't feel like they're related to this particular environment. To make them feel comfortable, yes, I look like you, I talk like you, but I'm not you. And it makes it so exciting to have conversations and dialogues, because a lot of times we miss it and we are not able to fill in the gap because we never have those conversations.
Yeah, and we talked about the lack of people working together in this community.
Yes.
And this whole island and Chattanooga and all these different programs that are going on. How can you guys create something where more programs are working together?
And we have less than 30 seconds.
Yes.
Wrap it up.
So right now we have partnerships with the schools. I think it's very important and imperative that we have partnerships with schools. People like Ms. Irvin, who is the principal at Orchard Knob Middle School, who has opened their doors.
Unfortunately, we're out of time.
All right, thank you so much.
The conversation has to be continued.
Yes,
Wayne
it
and
does.
Chris, we want to thank you both for being with us here.
Thank
now,
you.
what about some of the young people? How do they feel about mentoring, and does it work? Stay tuned when Point of View continues.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom. Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does. And like that, you're a job creator.
Join us for Point of View, weekends on News 12 Now.
Hello, my name is Kenawa Kaitabi, and I am your guest host for this Point of View. Mentoring, the professional and personal development. But the question is mentoring helpful? Does it work? I'm here with two distinguished gentlemen who are athletes and as well as academic scholars at Orchard Middle, as well as the principal, who is a knowledgeable and very intelligent young lady, Travion and Trevion, as well as Principal Urban. How are you doing today?
Good.
Doing well.
Well, that's good. So let me ask you a few questions. How important is it for mentors to be involved in the school system? Principal Urban.
Well, actually, we've communicated with our community as well as our teachers, trying to allocate more mentors. We really believe that if our students can see different professions or successful men and women, then they have the ability to be that as well.
Right, okay. So now in regards to, we're talking about, of course, mentors. Now, do you all have any mentors in your lives?
Yes, I do.
You do? Who?
Yes, in fact, Amy Covington. She's a mentor. She takes us out and stuff, keep us out of trouble.
And what does she do specifically? How does she keep you out of trouble?
Like, we'll go to her house on the weekends, or she'll take us somewhere, have fun, call if we need help or anything.
Nice, nice. So now in regards to you, do you have the same mentor? Do you have another mentor as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, who's your mentor?
Amy Covington, Janie, and Sean.
Okay, and now, so I know I was talking to you behind the scenes. You were telling me about there was another positive influence. Who is a positive influence that you have in your life?
Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
See, I'm a Dwayne Wade fan. I like that. Okay, so now, why does Dwayne Wade? How is he a positive influence or a mentor?
I like the way he carries himself on and off the court. He's professional.
Professional.
Yeah.
That's good, and that's what we like to hear, because of course a professional mentor is what we all need. So now I want to throw it back to you, Principal.
Sure.
Urban. Now, professionalism. Now, how many mentor programs, or do you have any mentor programs at Orchard Middle?
Yes, currently we have 9 mentoring programs, and we're seeking to have one additional one next year called Man Up. But the ones that we have now cater to the individual needs of our students. So I'll give you some examples. We have one called the Greatness Group, and that's comprised of students who once got in trouble, and now, looking at our data, those students have less referrals, academics are better, and their discipline has improved tremendously. We have another one called Madre for some of our students whose moms may not necessarily be in the picture. They may be incarcerated or deceased, or it just may be a mom who works all the time that may not have the opportunity to be there as much as she would want to. So we try to cater to the different needs of our students through our mentoring programs.
Nice. Well, I'm glad that you all cater to all those needs. And in regards to that, I know you all were telling me about, behind the scenes that you don't have a direct mentor, but how is it important, or how have you been positively influenced by the mentoring programs that are at Orchard Middle?
It's very good, and they teach you a lot of things there.
So how has it helped you as well?
I've been influenced a lot. Like, if some of these kids don't have mentors that make sure they're out of trouble or keep them safe, they will be in gangs and smoking or on drugs.
Right. Are those experiences that you've experienced, or what obstacles do you face being in school, being in middle school, and having to go to high school within a few short months?
Influences such as he said, drugs and gangs and violence, sometimes maybe in fights.
Interesting. So now, Principal Urban, I was reading up on your bio. I know you said that, of course, you worked within the Memphis City school system and also within the Hamilton County school system. I'm actually from Memphis, Tennessee.
Sure.
And being from Memphis, Tennessee, I know you see how it is and how the students are and whatnot, but I just wanted to know, me growing up, I had to have that mentor, that positive influence in my life. And if I didn't have that, I would not have been able to be steered in the right direction. Now, do you see that as a direct correlation with your mentoring programs with the students that you have, or the students, even these 2 students here?
Yes, and so working in Memphis City Schools for 7 years was a training ground for me, and it allowed me to participate and do different things. For example, we had a program called Destiny, which was a mentoring program for young women. Meeting with students in small groups, taking them to different places and exposing them makes all the difference. And so coming here, using the experiences from Memphis, intertwined with what I've learned here, We need as many mentors as possible, positive role models for our children. I keep saying it's not just the school's responsibilities or the parents. We've got to work as a community for the betterment of our kids.
Right. And so also that goes back to the theory of it takes a village to raise
Yes,
a child.
that is correct.
So now also in regards to a village to raise a child, now you all, I mean, of course you said you have your own mentor, but how important is it for other people that are around you to be positive influences in your lives? Not just people that are older than you, but friends, maybe even the people that you've met, even just by coming here.
You don't want to be influenced to those type of things, or you got to have good people around you to be steered in the right direction, as you were saying.
Right, okay. What about you?
You got to have them around. Keep good people. Surround yourself with good people.
Very nice. So now also with mentoring, now, does mentoring actually work? I mean, we see that they just told us, they said, hey, it's working fine for them. I mean, I said it works, but we're just 3 people.
Right.
How has mentoring helped you? Did it help you growing up? I don't know, where were you born, or how did that work out for you?
And so I'm actually a graduate of Howard School of Academics and Technology, class of 1998. And I did have mentors. To be honest with you, my teachers were my mentors. I knew at an early age that I wanted to be a teacher. And so I looked to them for guidance and, in the area of mentoring. So they instilled positive things in me so that I would understand exactly where I wanted to go, how I needed to get there.
Right.
And of course I had my family, but I also had the extra support of my mentors.
Okay, very nice. So now, also in regards to the family life. Now, family life and mentors. Do you think it's important for students to have that mentorship at home as well, not only within the school system?
Yes, it is. They need to be surrounded by good people, individuals who are teaching them the right way to go. I tell our kids all the time, you have many decisions you have to make. There are many opportunities, but which road will you take, Right. Robert Frost also said, in his poem, The Road Less Traveled, which road are you going to take? Are we going to do the right thing, or are we going to choose to do something that we know is wrong? So it's about motivating our students and encouraging them to make great choices.
Well, hopefully the people that actually tune into this and see understand that mentoring is an important factor, and of course playing a role in steering these students in the right direction. So I'd just like to say thank you very much, Travion. Thank you very much, Trevion. And thank you very much, Principal Irvin. Yes. Continue to do an amazing job, amazing work that you are doing, because of course 9 mentorship programs and you're adding a 10th one.
Yes.
I know the students coming out of there are going to be amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. What is the role of the city? That and more when Point of View continues.
La 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 la, I love you so. I love you, I love you. La 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 la, la 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 la.
We're here.
Yay!
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Thank you very much for continuing with us on this edition of Point of View. Previously, our young guest was a guy who just graduated from college. He's getting a start in broadcasting, and that's part of what we do here at Point of View. We find talent, we bring them along, and then we kick them out to go on their way professionally. But in order to get there, sometimes they need some help right here in the city of Chattanooga to help avoid some of the pitfalls that are out there and some of the bad things that can happen when information is not readily shared among young people who really need the information to make a more educated and a better choice. With us today, we're excited to have Troy Rogers, who is the Public Safety Coordinator for the City of Chattanooga. And rejoining me here on set, Ruth Carter-Hickman, thank you so much. We asked him the question before we came back on the air, what do you do?
Oh, I work for the mayor.
And that's not being facetious.
No, you're
working for the mayor is one thing, but what do you do?
I am the Public Safety Coordinator for Chattanooga. And I work with young men who have been in some issues, had some troubles and things like that.
When you say been in some issues, what does that mean?
Probably had problems with, prison, jail, some guys in the gang. We work with those guys to give them an opportunity to have a second chance in life.
So when you say a second chance, what does that mean? What do they have an opportunity to do to make right their wrong?
Okay, I mean, a lot of times dealing with today, when you have a record, it's really hard to get a job. So we have done a felon-friendly job fair where we go out and we talk to businesses on behalf of our guys who have issues, and we have them come in and stage. We do a day of job prep for them, and then we do their resume. I mean, we do everything that they need to do to get a job and be employed. So those are some of the things we do. We talk to the employers, let them know, hey, these guys have had some issues, but they need to make some money to be able to take care of their family. So that's what we do. That's one of the things that we do.
One of the things that I think the public may not be paying as much attention to is something that quietly happened. The Attorney General of the United States just said, we want prosecutors to put try them for the maximum sentenciable crime. And what I found interesting about that is that the Attorney General of the United States has stock in prison pipeline companies.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I mean, if you know, when 45, the day after 45 got in office, prison
45
stock.
means who?
Donald Trump.
Okay.
Prison stock went up by 30%. One of the stocks went up over $60 in one day, private prison stocks. We were talking to a group yesterday about those things, and we started talking about socioeconomics, because I feel like a lot of times, you know, we need to know why this is happening. You can help a young man, 23, 24 years old, but we need to go back to the why. And when I go back to the why, I go back to socioeconomics. And let me explain what I'm saying. Unsolved mental illness in our community is running rampant with our young men. The family dysfunction, having a father in the home, having a family that comes together, illiteracy. You understand that if you can't read, then you can't write. And if you can't write, you really have a hard time communicating. And we have a poverty issue. There's been studies about poverty and how it deals with your brain. When your brain is always in defense mode and things like that, you think and do things different. So we've been talking about those things and how a lot of times our young men deal with those things and never get the help that they need.
Well, these kids are getting passed grade by grade by teachers. I mean, that's another show. But speaking on the illiterate part, so what are the things that the city is actually doing to help with that?
Well, I mean, we talk about literally the city has, they have several programs that they're doing. We're in the school working with kids. We have a reading program that we do through the Father to the Fatherless with our young men, where we read books and things like that. So we're trying to aid, you know, we're not a school, but we can do the best that we can by getting into school and helping the young kids read and do things like that.
The public safety aspects are very important for a lot of parents that are out there. Lord have mercy, what do I do to keep my son or my daughter out of harm's way?
Yes, sir.
They are well taught and well mannered in the home, but they have to go outside.
Yes, sir.
And there's where the gangbangers and the saggers and whatever are lurking. How do you fight to keep those kids separated, and how anxious are you to put the bad ones in jail?
Well, when I came into my job, I said that I wanted to do one thing. I wanted to sever the pipeline into the gangs. So we got to put wings on the public safety office and get out there in the community. We canvass the community on Friday. We go out into the community. We go to the West Side. We go to East Lake Projects. We'll be going to Willow Homes on Friday, where we're talking to people and seeing exactly what they need. You know, what's going on, how you doing, what do you need, how can we serve you? And I think to be able to help that, we've got to get out there and be vigilant. They have to see us. You know, they have to see who we are and see that we're sincere and see that we care. I say that we can change this thing one relationship at a time.
I think with young people, when they don't have things to do, that's when trouble comes lurking. So where are these programs as far as, I feel like there should be more Boys and Girls Clubs, more YMCAs, more trade schools. If these kids can't read and write, maybe they can work with their hands.
I mean, you know, they have the Parks and Rec centers. I mean, the YMCA has their programs. As far as programs for kids, I think each center has something for them. I know Wayne Moody has a program that he does with some young men. I think it's called Impact One. And those are some things. Father to the Fatherless always has some things going on. So Father to the Fatherless actually will be at several community centers this summer doing programs with the young men.
As a public safety coordinator, are you involved with the police department in targeting gang members in order to get them off of the streets before they can affect more of the younger people around them?
Well, I mean, we're dealing with focused deterrence. You know, we're dealing with, there's a lot of young men that want to do better. You know, you said something earlier about, you know, thinking that, you know, is there some that you should lock up? And maybe they are, but there's a lot more that want to do the right thing, and we're really focused on them.
I'm taking a particularly hard line. It doesn't
Okay,
mean
that's
that
fine.
this is my opinion.
Yes, sir.
But I'm taking the hard line that a bad apple can spoil the barrel.
Okay.
So looking at that, how dedicated are you to taking the bad apples off the street before they can continue or begin to affect the good kids?
I'm dedicated to give life. I come from a situation where, you know, I had people in my life that didn't give up on me when I made bad decisions. So I come from that lineage where I'm gonna work with you until you don't want me to work with you anymore. So that's where I come from. I don't give up on anybody. You know, dealing with kids in the school, you know, you can't do anything to get kicked out. You can't do anything to get me to stop caring about you and trying to help you. So that's the stance that I take. Yes, sir, I understand what you're saying, but I don't give up on any of them.
Well, Ruth, we've talked about guys in trouble. We know that
Sure.
more and more young women
Sure.
are involved in gang activity,
Sure.
going to jail and doing some
Sure.
serious time.
Yes, sir.
What kind of focus and attention are you paying to them?
Well, you know, we have to do better. You know, we working with the men, and so you're right. Sometimes you can forget that there's young ladies, you know, having issues as well. When we go out into the community, they're like, hey, my daughter's having problems too. So we have to be more intentional about having things for young women. Like I said, I know that the Girls Club, Girls Incorporated does some things, and we are attempting to do some things as well. But yeah, you know, the women, that is an issue as well.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot too with young girls now, even fighting boys, and not just fighting each other, but fighting boys, and
Right.
I couldn't believe it. But
Right.
yeah, I'm curious to know exactly what exactly are,
In the last minute that we have.
yes, what are the programs for the girls that are in trouble, like you said, specifically?
Like I said, I know there's Girls Incorporated that does things. I know the YMCA has things. And, you know, we will help. You know, if we get calls or referrals, we will help young ladies as well. You know, we do whatever we can. We try to hook them up with young ladies who have been in some issues that can help them and deal with them as well.
Well, Troy, we want to thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
You have to keep up the good work, and it's like eating an elephant one bite at a time,
Yes,
one
sir.
kid at a time, right?
Yes, sir.
Ruth, as always, it's a pleasure to have you working with us. Listen, we have some interesting guests planned for next week's Point of View, so please stay with us when Point of View continues.
Closed captioning provided by the following.
Funding for this program is brought to you by Barnett & Company, specializing in tax-efficient strategies for the preservation and distribution of family wealth, offering continuous investment management with a focus on long-term strategies. Areas of service include investment, estate, education, and retirement planning. Barnett & Company, the power of compound returns over time. More information can be found on the web at barnettandcompany.com.
You taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?